Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Today I wanted to discuss 5 different things that you can do to help you get through a really bad flare-up. I wanted to do this video because the past couple weeks have honestly been really bad, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason I've been feeling sicker than I have in a really long time. I'm not really sure what instigated it or why I got that sick, but the past couple weeks have actually been pretty bad and a little bit discouraging, but I'm finally starting to feel better, and I feel like I haven't, I've been kind of MIA with my channel, and there was a lot of things I wanted to do with the past week or so in terms of the videos I wanted to upload on hip replacement, MS, a special video I wanted to do for Operation Way Less. I'll talk about that when I'm done with this video, but anyway, it's just been a really tough couple weeks, and I felt very unproductive, and it's been tough to kind of get back into my normal schedule. And when I'm in the midst of a terrible flare-up, it's really hard for me to believe that I'm going to be able to get back to normal life, because when I'm in the midst of it, the pain can be so intense and debilitating, and I can feel so unproductive and useless. It's really hard for me to kind of, get myself through and get myself back to a place where I'm able to function again. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I do to help me get through a flare-up, and to kind of, keep my spirits up, keep my body going, and to keep me from spiraling down, into a much worse state, physically and emotionally. So for those of us that suffer from any type of chronic illness, whether it's fibromyalgia, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, depression, anxiety, it could even be emotional, it doesn't have to be physical, it could even be both. We will often go through periods where we will experience really bad episodes. And there might not always be a rhyme or reason why we're going through this. It could be a sciatica, could be any type of neurological problems, it could be anything. But every so often, our body will kind of remind us that we have this condition. Even if we've been feeling well and we've been able to function somewhat normally, our body on occasion will remind us that we have this condition. It can really kick us off our feet, and sometimes for even weeks at a time. And so there are certain things that you can do during those time periods, again, to help you from going too far down into a deep depression, and also keeping your body moving, keeping your blood circulating, keeping your muscles active, where you don't have to do that much, where you can still rest and you can still limit your activity. The first thing that is very essential when you're going through a flare-up is being very comfortable with getting rest. I know for some of you that might sound very obvious. Well, of course, Charlene, if I don't feel good, I'm gonna rest. But there are some of you out there that are probably like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I will push through no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter how severe it is. I will try to push through a day of work. I'll try to push through and do everything for my family. Whatever it is, that the responsibilities that you have, you'll really try to push through to get, to try to just get through the flare-up, which will in turn prolong the flare-up, not giving your body the ability to rest and get you back to a state of somewhat homeostasis. Because when you suffer from any type of chronic illness, we're never really in a state of homeostasis. Our body's always trying to fight to get us there. And that's actually one of the reasons why we feel so tired with a lot of these conditions, again, whether it's emotional or physical. And so, so again, getting rest is something that's going to be very important. And that's going to be like, for example, when you get home from work, you really want to try to make sure that you have some time to lay down and get off your feet and let your body just kind of relax. And I know for some of you that have children, you have a lot of responsibilities. I understand it's really hard to do that when you're going through a bad episode. But for those of you that have family members or maybe good friends or what have you, maybe you can make arrangements ahead of time with people that you feel comfortable with and that you trust, to help you during these times when you're going through a really bad episode. and to just again just kind of let them know, there might be periods where I might need you to kind of step in for an hour or something, a few days a week, just to kind of allow me to rest and get my head together, let my body relax. And maybe you can make some kind of arrangement with someone to do that for you. If you have children that are older, I say like maybe 5 years and up, they can definitely understand when mommy needs to rest or when daddy needs to rest and take some time, to relax. You can explain that to them, and because kids are definitely they're a lot more intuitive than we often give them credit for, but they will understand that. And you can train your children to be a little bit more independent during those time periods when you're having a flare-up, like maybe getting their own snack or not having to ask you for every little thing. Like a great example when we were growing up, because my mom was a single mom and she cleaned houses. And understandably, when she would come home, she was quite tired, and she would always make us dinner from scratch, and she was just the most amazing mom ever when I was growing up. But anyway, there were times when she would go to her room and she would take a nap. And I remember this even when I was very young, even at 4 or 5 years old. I remember her going to bed, and during that time, we just knew we were not to disturb her unless it really was an emergency. We just knew, we were trained, do not bother mom during that time period. If there was anything we needed, we'd get our own snack, or we'd try to resolve it, me and my sister, between the two of us. So you can definitely teach your children. It might take time, it's obviously some effort and energy, but you can definitely teach them that if they bother you, that there will be some kind of consequence, like maybe they'll lose a privilege, or maybe they'll lose time, like if they bother you during your nap, they lose an hour off of playing on their iPad, or whatever it is that they enjoy. You want to provide some kind of a consequence to them too, so that they learn, okay, like mom really needs to rest. But hopefully with most kids, again, kids are smart, and if you explain it to them, I say in general, a lot of kids will respond well, and over time they'll just learn to let you rest, for a little bit longer, or be a little more independent when you're going through those time periods, or, talk to your husband for those of you that are married. But whatever it is, when you're going through a really bad flare-up, a really bad episode of your depression, whatever, I think it's very important to communicate to your family, to your loved ones, to people that you're very close to, and to people that you really, really trust. And let them know that there may be times when you're going to need them to step up a little bit and help you out. So getting rest is very important, and do not feel guilty about getting that rest. It is essential to feel comfortable with resting. And I know for myself, when I'm going through a bad episode and I need to lay down for hours at a time, after my husband comes home, I usually cook him dinner, get what he needs, and then I'll go lay down. And I can feel like a loser. I can feel, like I'm unproductive, like I'm not doing anything. And it really can mess with your head, but you really want to try very hard to not let your mind go there. But I'm going to talk about that in a second, and ways that you can deal with that. The second would be making sure that you're getting good sleep. Now, I'm going to be doing a separate video on how to improve your sleep habits when you have chronic illness. Well, actually, it will apply to everybody, but especially for those of us that have a lot of chronic illnesses, insomnia comes along with that. And so getting sleep is going to be incredibly important during this time period, again, to allow your body that time in sleep to heal, to recover, and to recuperate. So if you want to make sure that you're on a good sleep schedule, I say the ideal sleep schedule is from 10 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. Of course, everybody has different work schedules or what have you, but it's always best for your body to be in line with the circadian rhythm of the earth. And so when it comes to your bedtime, one thing that helps me, number one, is to listen to what's called binaural beats. And these are videos that I look up on YouTube, and it's music. And it's basically a tone that, and again, I'm going to go into more detail about this when I talk about my sleep video, when I do that video, but it's a tone that really does help to release serotonin and dopamine, and it just stimulates, certain neurological pathways, and it does help to relax you. It really does, because I think at nighttime can be the most difficult time, because again, that's when our mind will start to wander, because we're not being distracted by anything, and that's when our pain can also feel the worst. Another thing that helps is to take a nice hot bath in Epsom salt. And and when you take your bath, you want to try to make it as hot as you can take it. You really want it to be a nice hot bath. And the Epsom salt will help to detoxify your body and just get, anything that's causing inflammation out of your body. And the warm water will help you to relax your muscles and help you to rest. Another thing that will help you before you go to sleep, especially with the pain levels, will be stretching. Try to do some stretches before you go to bed. So you'll want to check out my video of how to do a full body stretch. And I'll put it at the annotations at the end of this video. I'll put it on the screen for you guys to go check out. But you want to try doing some stretching before you go to bed, and that will help again to relax your muscles and get them to a more loosened state, helping to relieve your pain and discomfort when you go to sleep, because again, often that's when we can feel the most pain, because we're not as distracted by our daily activities. So getting proper sleep is going to be very important. Try to stay off your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, because that light, again, will kind of mess up the circadian rhythm where your body will think it's still daylight. If you must use it, then you may want to install what's called a blue light filter. It's a free app on any iPhone or Android device. If you just type in blue light filter, you'll see a bunch of them come up, and it just filters the blue light on your phone. And again, it makes it less strenuous on the eyes. And again, because the screen is a lot dimmer, it'll allow your body to start getting ready for sleep. But again, I will be doing another separate video on how to improve your sleep, and I'll try to get more in depth with that. The third thing is your nutrition. And in general, your nutrition should always be good. But when you're going through a flare-up or any type of really bad episode, you really have to make sure that you are not filling your body with processed toxic foods that are high in sugar, high in high fructose corn syrup, any type of food that's going to cause flare up, and that's going to be those types of boxed foods. You really want to try to eat mostly fresh foods like fruits, vegetables, your healthy fats like your coconut oils, avocados. If you're a meat eater, your lean meats like some fish or some chicken, or even if you do enjoy red meat, more lean cuts of red meat, not very often. I mean, those are just general guidelines, period, for a healthy plan. But when you're going through a flare up, it's really important that you really try not to eat those types of foods, because it's just going to exacerbate it and make it worse. I know for me, when I'm going through a flare-up, that's the time when I want to go to those foods, because I want something to make me feel better. And I'll go, like, one of my favorite treats of all time is pistachio ice cream with rainbow jimmies. Oh my God, I could eat probably a whole carton of that. And I actually had a bowl when I was going through my really bad flare-up recently. And I would say within about a half hour of eating it, I felt even worse. And I knew it was what I ate. And now, I'm not saying I never enjoy it. I do enjoy it on occasion. I do enjoy food. I'm not a nutrition Nazi, but during that time period, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I should have really stuck, to my fresher, less processed foods, healthier fats, which I did for the most part, but I know it's going to be really tempting to want to go to those foods. But again, it's just going to cause like a spikes in your sugar and your glucose levels and cause you to have a low. And again, it's just going to cause inflammation. And it's not going to help, even though at that time, at that moment, it might give you some sort of satisfaction or joy. Again, it will cause more disarray in your body that will make whatever you're dealing with even worse at that time period. Also, taking supplements like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D3, as well as calcium, magnesium supplements, because those will help to keep your body relaxed, and maybe valerian root, Lavender tea is also can be very relaxing. You can actually, when you take a bath, you can put even get a lavender essential oil and put some lavender essential oil in the bathtub, or even burn it if you have an oil burner, because just the scent of the lavender again will relax you. It's a natural way to relax you. And but again, just making sure that you're only filling your body with good, nutritious, nutrient-dense foods will help you to get through it quicker, giving your body the fuel and the nutrients to, again, get you out of it and get you back to a more homeostatic place. The fourth thing would be really monitoring your thought process. And the way that I do that when I'm going through a flare-up is I only watch stuff that makes me happy or puts me in a good mood. Whether it's a funny movie that I enjoy watching, or there's several YouTube channels that I really like to listen to. And sometimes I'll actually, instead of the binaural beats, if my mind is really going, like if I'm really getting anxious thinking about my day or my problems or my frustrations, I'll put on a channel like You Are Creators or Your Universe. There's another one called The Leader's Basement. For me, those are just outlets that I like to go to, because it's just a lot of videos that just have positive message, how to change your thought process, how to change your thinking. If you're someone who's very religious, perhaps you find a lot of comfort in the Bible, listening to the Bible. You can get the Bible on tape. I'm sure you can find it being narrated on YouTube, at least certain books of the Bible. Maybe that's something that will help to relax you and give you some peace of mind. So you have something to listen to instead of your thoughts. And that might be, again, a really good way just to keep your thoughts from going into that spiral, or I hate my life, why do I have to go through this, I feel like such a loser, I feel so pathetic. Just all the thoughts that we have when we're going through really, really bad episodes. And so definitely listening to positive things. Really try to stay away from the news during that time period. Certainly stay informed, of course, that's very important, but try to stay away from the news. And again, just focus on things that are positive and uplifting. And one thing that actually does help me during this time period too, because I'm a huge horror fan. I love horror movies. And actually watching scary movies will help to distract me. And some people say, well, Charlene, that's negative. Well, it depends. Like, I won't watch like torture ones, or I'll watch like maybe ghost stories or something like that. And so that's something that will help me to keep my mind occupied and not going into, again, a downward spiral of negative thinking, of self-defeat and how pathetic I am and what have you. The fifth thing would be to get exercise, get some movement. And obviously during this time period, your exercise really needs to be modified. It definitely needs to be low intensity, but you need to get movement, something. It is so important that you get some type of activity in your day. For this, during these types of episodes, what would be perfect would be my video on exercises you can do to start your day. Again, I'll put that on, either I'll put it in the link in the description below, or I'll put it on the annotations at the end of the video, so you can click on the screen. But those are exercises that you could even do from bed. Another great video that I have is exercises to help improve your posture, decrease back pain, and improve abdominal strength. It's one of the very first videos that I ever did, and I'm wearing like a blue tank top shirt. And so that's another video that you can watch, and exercises that you can do from bed. You don't even have to get up. But I do encourage you that you do get up, because some of you may be fortunate enough to be able to stay in bed all day, and if you have that privilege, that's really wonderful. It really is. But if you can do that, you still want to make sure you take a few minutes out of your day to get some movement. Even if you just get up and walk around the house, get some movement. And that is so important. And also, another recommendation, go outside for a few minutes. Even just to get some sun for 5 minutes. Just walk up and down the street, or up and down your driveway, or just sit on your porch and get some good natural sunlight for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. During that time period, don't wear sunblock, so that way you can absorb the natural rays of the sun and get that natural vitamin D, because a lot of people these days, especially those of us with chronic illness, are coming up with vitamin D deficiency, and it's because we're just not outside very often. And so getting out there and getting some natural sunlight, again, just 5 to 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be that long, and allow your body to absorb that. Like for me personally, I have a dog and she has to go out several times a day, and that helps me because it gets me up, it gets me outside, it gets me in the sun just for a few minutes, because I'm in Vegas and it can get really hot here. I can't really handle the intense heat. And I don't put on sunblock during that. Any other time I always wear sunblock, but during those few minutes I won't wear sunblock, just so I can absorb the sun rays. And it does help, it really does. And so that's going to be something that will also help you during this time period. So, okay guys, so I just wanted to share a few things that help me to get through a flare-up. And the reality is, when you have any type of chronic physical or emotional illness, it's unavoidable. It's just going to happen sometimes. And it's just something we have to learn how to accept and deal with. Now, obviously, I do believe that the body has the ability to heal itself. On my video of epigenetics, I do discuss that. I personally am not there yet. I'm working on it, and I am trying more natural ways. Again, starting with my thought process, in terms of not giving too much power to my chronic illness, not denying it, of course, but not giving it too much power. And I think also another thing too is that when we're going through these episodes, it can be very difficult for the people around us to understand and to believe that it can be that bad, because we look fine. We look like there's nothing wrong with us. And this is actually something I talk about in my book, because I know I don't mention it very often, that I did write a book, and it's called You Look Just Fine to Me, and I have a link for it in the description below. And I entitled it You Look Just Fine to Me because for people that have chronic physical or emotional illness, when people look at us, you look just fine to me. You don't look like anything's wrong. And they can tend to lack compassion and empathy, and again, it's not because they're being mean or it's just because they don't really see anything obviously wrong with us. It's hard for them to really grasp that there is something that we deal with every day that can be debilitating at times. And so if you guys want to check out my book, I'll have the link in the description below. But it might help you, again, because I talk about a lot of these things in my book too, on basically how to help people that suffer from chronic physical and emotional illness improve their quality of life, a practical way to improve your quality of life, and just some practical tips, a practical guide to help you with that. So, okay guys, well, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it did help some of you if you're going through a really bad episode right now. I hope it does help you to have some tips on how to deal with it when you're going through it, and ways that you can, try to shorten the episode, things that you can do just to, again, give your body the ability to fight it off and get you back, into a state where you feel like you can function better again and go back to your normal life. And so, yeah, so if you are going through a really bad episode right now, just hang in there. And I know it can get tough. I know it can get discouraging and be disheartening. But it's, again, you can still very much live a very good, productive quality of life if you take care of yourself and if you, take certain actions. Again, it might not be what your life used to be. However, you can still live a good quality of life despite some of the limitations that we deal with. So, okay guys, so this week, hopefully I am back on track. I am feeling better. I do want to do my video on how to strengthen your glutes and your hips after you've had hip replacement surgery. And this is going to be after you've been discharged for exercise. It's not going to be like right after hip replacement, but I'll talk more about that in the video. And I'm also going to be doing a video for Operation Way Less. And if you guys want to check out that channel, it's a great channel. It's basically this woman, her name is Wendy, and she has MS, and she's also been diagnosed as legally blind, and she just vlogs about her fitness journey and just the challenges that she struggles with. Well, she recently did a video on some of the challenges and frustrations she's been dealing with in terms of losing weight while suffering with a chronic illness. And I did want to address that video and respond to it, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with and a lot of people will relate to. And so I want to do that video later this week, again, to help those of you, if you feel like you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get in shape, but you have chronic illness and you have limitations and you've kind of hit a brick wall. I want to help you, give you tips to get past that. So, okay guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your time and attention. Remember, take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally, and don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.